It's hot here. We want to get out of here. Hello? Every time I hear noise, I start from the beginning.
How many pages? Yeah.
We're gonna get tired.
First of all, as I do every year, I start off by giving an unbelievable thank you for Yohrzeit and Shahesh for hosting this amazing Yohrzeit. So befitting for Apu. This is his first Yohrzeit, and we thank her for everything that she does all year round, and especially on these special occasions. I told Shahesh that I'm going to speak twice as long as he speaks. I have good news and bad news. He spoke for 7 minutes. My speech is really 3 minutes. But Rabbi Rotkin, who couldn't be here, asked me to deliver his speech. His is about 25 minutes. So
I'm gonna cry.
blame him, not me.
Is that funny? I'm gonna cry.
All right, about 5 laughs. It's better than I thought. Okay. I once heard in the name of Rav Scherer, Moshe Scherer, president of Agudas Yisrael for about 50 years. I'm sure some of you heard this line, that a speech is like digging for oil. If you don't strike oil in 10 minutes, quit boring. Okay. 3 people got it.
down.
Very good. What?
2 down.
2 down. Boring. Boring. Got it? Okay. Good. I'm always reminded, Apu, he used to say when a Rav would get up to speak, he said, I give you 2 choices. Either you speak short, that I don't fall asleep, or you speak long, that I can get a good sleep. I don't want to be woken up in the middle. Not sure I'm going to fulfill his request this time. Anyway, I'm trying to connect Apu's Yohrzeit with this week's Parsha. So right away I noticed, well, this week's Parsha, as you know, deals with the act, the zealous act of Pinchas, what he did, and then it talks about the Bnei Tzlofchad, the daughters of Tzlofchad, who argued that they too should be entitled to inherit from their father, and with Moshe Rabbeinu's dying. So we're going to try to incorporate all that tonight. The first thing I noticed, the connection with the word Pinchas. If you notice in the Torah, it's spelled with a yud. Even though every place else, like in the Chamoshim, where it says the word Pinchas doesn't have yud, but the Torah spells it with a yud. And then I realized Pinchas with the yud is gematria exactly 208, which is exactly Yitzchak, which was Apu's father's name. But then I realized that Esther is not going to be satisfied without gematria, even though she's only listening halfway. So we'll try to come up with some other ones. Some of you may remember I spoke by my uncle's Shloishim. I spoke about the number 91, which is a very special number. It's the gematria of Amen, which stands for Kei Melech Neman. It's a lot of other gematrias. And I mentioned that the Al Kein Akav L'cho, we say after Aleinu, I mentioned that has exactly 91 words. And it is at that prayer that I said over that somebody should pray for Tchias HaMesim. And then I said a gematria Ephraim was gematria Akav L'cho Hashem Elokeinu. And I also realized that of everything that we daven, if you look in various forum, they always have a little difference, a word here, a word there. Al Kein Akav is the same with the exception of Vav, whether it's Ve'al or Vav, but it has 91 letters no matter what nusach you use.
Words or letters?
Words, I'm sorry. Okay, we know you're paying attention. Okay. Everybody asks this kasha, Rashi, everybody comments on the Parsha. It says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen. Why it goes through all those steps. The first thing that I realized, and I was happy to realize this, that if you take the first letters of Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aharon HaKohen, it's 91. And then, lo and behold, I took a Chassam Sofer, and he actually even says this and expounds a little bit, and he says that the reason they add Ben Aharon HaKohen, because without Ben Aharon HaKohen, if it would just be Pinchas Ben Elazar, it would be 83. And he says 83 is not the best number, it's guf, which is the body, and we really should be concentrating on the neshama. So by adding Ben Aharon HaKohen, he says it brings it up to 91, which he talks about the chashivas of that number. I then was curious, I wonder if anybody else is curious about this, but I was curious, how many words in the Torah have the value of 91? Anybody was curious about that? No. Anybody cares? No. I'll tell you anyway. There are 222 words in the Torah that have the value of 91. Isaac can rattle them off for you. There's a Medrash Pliya that says like this, where it talks about in Parshas Yohrzeit, where it talks. There's a Medrash in Parshas Yohrzeit that talks about where it talks about a bechor gets double. It says bechor al pishnaim. The Medrash says because bechor over there is spelled without the vav. From here we learn out that a bechor gets double. So the answer, how do we learn it out? Because it's missing a vav. So the answer is because if you have the bechor without the vav, it's beis chaf reish. Each one is double of the letter before. The beis from bechor is double of aleph, the chaf is double of yud, and the reish is double of the kuf. Kuf. Okay. So Apu, who was a bechor, in a sense, you can say that the value of him being a bechor is 222. So here's another connection to this week's parsha. If you take David, which is 14, together with Pinchas, 208 is how much? 222. But what are the qualities of a bechor? What does it mean to be a bechor? Bechor means that you're a leader. You're a leader in the family. You're the one that influences those that come after you. And Apu, who was a bechor, was a leader in every arena. Wherever you went, whether it was in shul, or in business, or in the condominium, or in the family, wherever he was a leader. But while some leaders think that everything is coming to them, and they don't even feel obligated to show their appreciation, or they don't feel that they have to do something for other people, that only people should do something for them, Apu instilled in us, and I hope it is somewhat evident, two things. First of all, to go out of your way to help others, but equally important, to go out of your way to show Hakaras Hatov. I actually believe that these two traits can go a long way in solving most of the world's problems. The Duvna Magid highlights this with this week's in this week's parsha. There's another medrash that says, I thought I had it here, that Pinchas ben Elazar. Oh, there, thank you. You so amazing. It's the medrash says, Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu bedin hu sheyital schora. He said it's justified that Pinchas should get the schar of kahuna forever. So he explains it, as he does everything else, with a mashal. He says, let's say somebody was a very rich man, and he had an employee who would serve him and take care of him, and in exchange for that, he gave him food, which was a basic necessity, and he never paid him extra. Just gave him a place to sleep and room and board. One time he was in the middle of a big party, and another businessman associate came and offered him a great deal. And he told the guy, look, I'm having a party now, come back tomorrow. So this employee went over to, who was went over to his boss and he says, look, give me the keys, let me show